Hi there, it's Karen here. Welcome back. And today we're going to be working once again on the 50 stack challenge. I've got 3 more prompts to get through. It's quite a lot because I've got a few things I want to do, so I'm going to probably have to do a lot of speeding up, so just be warned, just to get through all 3 prompts and try and catch up a little bit, because that'll get me up to date with where Amy is as far as prompts. Her next 2 prompts come out tomorrow, but I will always be running a couple of weeks behind her anyway, just because that's where I've scheduled it, but at least I'm making them. We'll be catching up with her on the making. So the first prompt is number 4 that I'm going to be doing today, and that's lace. So let's just put my prompt list aside. So for this make, I've been inspired by Rachel at Roxy Creations, so that's her latest, weekly challenge. That's it. The weekly challenge, Roxy's weekly challenge, week number 37. I always like to watch them, and every now and again, as you might notice, if you watch my videos for a while, I'll do one of her makes just because I like them. So for this make, it was a bifold journal card using lace. So I thought, oh, that'll be perfect for my prompt. So I'm using some papers from the Nostalgic Noel kit by RachandBellaCrafts. That was her Christmas kit from last year. I'm sure there'll be a new one coming out this year. But I really loved it, so I wanted to use it. So I've taken this piece of paper and I have cut it down to, I've cut off a piece at the bottom. This piece here, as you can see. Just cut that off to make it a size that would fit into a belly band or a side tuck. So it's 6.5 inches tall. It will be. And I've kept the full width of the paper because I'm going to fold it up and then trim it down. So I have kind of folded it where I wanted the size to be. So that is going to be, and then I'll trim this piece off. So that is, always helps to do it in the right way round. So that's going to be about 4 1/4. Yeah, just over 4 1/4. I folded it there because I wanted to keep this star piece, but obviously we're going to add a piece of lace on the edge, so that'll just make it a little bit wider, so we want to make sure it still fits. So I'm going to trim this piece off. I'm going to keep these makes fairly simple. I'll try to, best I can, just to get the 3 makes done. I can possibly go a little bit more involved when I'm down to just doing 2 prompts at a time. So I've got this lovely piece. Oh, that would make a lovely tag, wouldn't it? There you go. So yeah, these papers are so gorgeous. You could make half a dozen journals out of the one kit, and none of them would be the same. It's just such a wonderful kit. So I've got my piece of paper folded. So that's going to be my bifold journal card. And the reason it appealed to me was because we're going to add some paper here, and we're going to make this. We're going to collage this bit. And I thought it'd be a really good thing to have in a Christmas journal, because that's the only time I do any journaling is at Christmas. You could have some photographs on this piece, and then you could write about what's going on the other piece. That was what appealed to me. So I'll show you what I mean. If you didn't see her video, I'm sure many of you did, I'm going to add this piece of, this is like a parchment. I bought it as a parchment paper, so it's very slightly see-through, not really, but it's lovely, and I forget I have it. I don't have a lot left, but I thought it'd be really nice. It's a lovely colour, and I'm going to, what she did was she glued it over the fold a bit. So she glued it on there and then folds it in. I will trim the bottom off. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow her make exactly. So I don't want to make life complicated for myself right now. So I'm just going to add some glue to my paper. So that it's not lying as flat as I'd have liked for some reason, but so be it. I'm sure it'll sort itself out. And then I'm just going to fold this back in on there. and fold it. If it's folded straight, probably not, no. That's better. And then we fold it back on itself. There. That's it. And then it can be pulled out and written on. Or more photographs added, especially here, because it's going to be that bit thicker. So, and then I'm just going to trim off the excess at the bottom. So on this piece, which is obviously a white piece, we want to cover it, want to collage over it. So I've just pulled out a few pieces just because you can use it for writing or I can use it for background for photographs. So I've got this piece of dyed green paper. I think I might pop that on here all the way down. Just because it's a nice Christmassy colour, but not too bright. That kind of fit. And I can always trim off any excess, so I think I'll pop that on there. Let's just figure out what else I'm going to use. So I've got a piece of indie piece of book page here, and I've got a piece of this paper that I've got that I used for the autumn kit to print onto, because it's the same both sides. It's like a vintage paper type of thing. So I just want to give it a bit of an edge. There's my ruler. There it is. So I might just trim that off there. I'll just trim that there. I think that should do it. Something like that. I think I'll just give this a little bit of an interesting edge as well. Don't really need this all the way down now, do I? Take a bit off. Then I won't have to trim it off afterwards. So that goes there, and that goes on there. And I'm just going to ink around these and glue them on. Okay, so I've stuck the pieces down and I've refolded the card. Now it's dry enough. I love that. I think it looks beautiful. And I did just round these corners here, just so that it looks, you can see that's kind of just like the finished edge. So we've just got a couple more things to do really, and then this one's done. So the first thing to do will be to add our lace, because that's the name of the prompt. So I've got this beautiful red lace, and I thought I'm just going to cut it to size. And it's just a case of whether we stuck it to the inside of the card, like here, or to the outside. And on her ones, Rachel did did both. Depends on how it looks best. So it's either on the outside there, or on the inside. I'll kind of lay it there, kind of thing. I'm going to pull it out a bit more, I think, but I think I prefer it on the inside. Don't know. like that as well. Well, I have got an image to put on the front here, so let's see how it looks with the image. So I've got, this is also from the kit, lovely picture of Santa to go on the front there. So now I feel like it needs to either go under the image or under the card altogether. No, I think it needs to go under here. Try and stick it under there. I know what I mean. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it underneath and put him on top. Then I've always got the option of a little bit of trim. When I do get all my Christmas bits out, I can always add a bit of trim to this at a later date when I come to use it, which I may well do. So let's just put I'm going to ink this edge because I feel like it's just crying out for a bit of ink, and I'm feeling very strongly I want to round these corners at the moment. I think I will. I hope they will go in. I might have to do the front and back separately. Yeah, I'll do that. That didn't work very well. Let's try again. Do it better. Let's do a better job. That's better. Okay, let's put our bit of lace down here. Not with that glue. I think I'm going to use the glitter glue. Put it about there. I want it showing well. I don't want it too hidden. So like that. Lovely. And then I will just just going to ink along this spine here. I'll probably ink around the whole thing afterwards, but let's just do that for now. And then we'll put our pin on. And add Santa to the front. There. Lovely. So I had thought about adding some of these words that come with the kit, obviously Christmas words, ho 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 and all the rest of it, but actually because there's quite a lot, it's quite busy in the background and there's Christmas here and there's sort of bits of words there, I thought it may be a bit lost. So I think I might just leave it as it is because I kind of like it just like that. That's really nice. And then I just want a little tab to pull this out. So you could easily do a whale tail with some of the papers. But there's loads of lovely pieces, loads of fussy cut. So we've got this fussy cut sheet. So we've got little stamps and little tiny pieces that would be really good for this kind of thing. So I pulled out these. They're like the fronts of like book covers. So I thought if I could put a couple of those together, they would look quite nice there. So, and then because they're the same size, I can back to back them. I'm going to have this blue one because we've got quite a bit of the blue on the paper. Are they the same size? Got to make sure they are. The blue one is smaller than the green one, so I'll have to cut the green one down a bit. Let's just cut off that border. How close are we? So I'll glue them glue them on and then trim it after. So I think I put the blue one on the front. A little bit to trim off the bottom there. Just quickly glue that. Let's just check the size of this one. I don't suppose it matters too much as long as it's lined up and isn't taller. It won't matter if it's a little bit wider because it won't show. Oop. Okay. Pile of scissors. It's kind of in my way. Just check it's lining up. Needless to say, there's a little bit of white showing beneath. Right. That, and then we've got our tab, and we've got the green one on the other side. I think if I do a bit more inking, I won't notice any slight imperfections, which are always visible until you do that. I haven't done a great job on that one, but never mind, it's only for me. Anyway, I'm just going to snip those corners as well. Okay, so here we have our little bifold journal card, Christmas themed. So we open it up and we pull out our journaling or photograph space. So loads of photograph space here, and then you can write all about them here. And it will just either tuck in behind a belly band or into a side tuck. So yeah, love that. That is done. That's prompt number 4, lace. Prompt number 5 is postage stamp. So again, I could do that with either Christmas or autumn, but I'm going to go back to autumn for this. For the last 2 prompts, I'm going to do autumn. 2 different things. So I am going to be doing another one of my little journal cards for the cover for this one. And this is journal card number 3. And I'll show you where that belongs. Where'd my cover go? There it is. So this is the one that lives in this envelope, in this pocket here, with the window. So I'm going to have to be a bit aware. I'd kind of forgotten when I was planning this that it actually had a window. So let's put these bits aside because I've got a little collection of postage stamps here. So I just need to make sure they show, really, don't I? So I'm just going to use this offcut. This is from the another autumn kit, the Tracy Fox kit. I thought, well, I've got this scrap, so I thought it's a good size to cover my card. So I'm just going to start with that. I'm going to use this glue instead of the glue stick, I think. This is the tacky glue. Just might not get quite so curled up. Right, I've got my I've got my card covered. Well, I really like that, like just as it is, really. And I have got a little collection of postage stamps, but I realised I probably haven't got quite such a wide variety of colours. I've just pulled in my little stamp book. This is one of those little books that I made, probably the first one I made for my stamps. And they're kind of in colours or themes, depending on how I felt. So I pulled out a few of the orangey, yellowy ones. I thought maybe I'll have one or two of the more browny, reddish coloured ones, dark red. I don't know. I won't use all of these. I'll just give myself some options. Just keep them handy. But I think I've got enough. I'm not going to cover this. I'm just going to do a little bit of a sort of collage-y selection. In Amy's video, she completely collaged over an envelope, I think. But I don't want to cover this. I just want to use these as more of a decorative element. So I've got some really nice ones, and one of the ones I've pulled out is this one, which is really autumnal. So that's the one I'd kind of like to make sure it is visible in its entirety in the window. So I think if I just try to line it up, where's it going to go in? So it's going to go there. So I think that will be about right. Hopefully that's going to go. So if I put that in the middle, and then I can just arrange the others in a nice little arrangement around it. I think that's the idea, as this is the most autumnal of my stamps, and the others are just all autumn colours rather than themed. Ooh, bit of book page stuck to it. Oh, good-oh. There we are, got rid of that. Actually, it says autumn on it. I think that's upside. Is that upside down? That's better. But it does actually say autumn on the edge. Don't know where it's from. So I'm just going to pop that kind of in the middle and hope it's about right. Maybe I move it along a little bit more that way. I think that should, with any luck, that should show quite nicely. Move it down a touch. Just checking. I think that'd be okay. Let's change my book page. Okay. So let's just arrange some of these others around it. I've got some quite very bright ones. I've got this lovely one from Malaysia. Put that one there maybe. See which way they're meant to go. I want different orientations. This is one from Portugal. It doesn't show up there, does it? About that one. That'll be better there. This is... doesn't have a year or anything on it, but it has got a king's head. Don't know where that's from. Not going to worry about it too much. That one there. I feel like I need something here, but these are a little big. Because putting this in the middle was probably not the best thing to do because it's made it difficult to get the others in. That fit there. Yeah, I might have to trim that a little. About this one, will that go underneath? That goes under better. Don't want it too lined up though. Okay, maybe I'll put something else here, perhaps a little sentiment or something, or a word. I think these might be okay, like that. Not sure about this one. Got this one, which is a bit bigger, a bit too big. Could trim it. Or this one. Now I need that orange. Okay, let's just have a quick look. Put that number in there. So I've got Autumn Vibes from the Autumn Wonder Kit, and this little number is actually, that fits nicely in there. That's also from the Autumn Wonder Kit. I could pop that there, I think. That's a bit different. Okay, so let's just glue these down. And then I just want to put a tab on there. So let's do, some I'll ink, some don't need it. This one does not. Oh. So you've got that. You hardly notice that they've been trimmed off a little bit. I will ink around with the dark one. What's it called? Scorched timber. I'm going to ink around this with the scorched timber. I like that, and I've been using that for the others. It gives it a nice edge. And because this card only just reaches the edge, I do need to put an extra tab on it. So I've got a couple of bits of paper that I pulled out to do this with, just because I wasn't sure which one would go best. So I'm just going to make them, and we'll see which one looks best when it's in place. So I'm just going to make a couple of whale tails, and then I can always use the one I don't use for this for one of the other pockets. So this is some of Roxy Creations paper, and this is from the Janie B Journals Le Pêche kit. I've got all sorts of autumn scraps, and I'm bringing them all together for this journal because that's fun, and it's nice to be able to use them up. So we've got this side or this side, and there, or this one. How would that look in? I quite like that just because it's a bit more, it's got a bit more colour to it. This one might just blend in a bit too much. I think I'm going to use this. Oh, yeah, maybe I should use a Scotch timber for this actually. So it ties in with the rest of the card, the edge of the card. I went round the stamps with the vintage photo. I didn't want it to be too dark around those, just to give them a little, just to knock back the white on some of them a bit. So I'm going to pop that on there. Would actually be quite nice to have an eyelet here and a little dangle, wouldn't it? Might be something I'll come back to do on some of these, is add an eyelet and something hanging from it. This may be too low because it's right at the bottom, so that might not be the best idea for this one, but it might be a good idea for some of the others that are sticking out. I think I might just nip those corners. It might go into the pocket a little bit more readily if I do that. Might just slip in easier. Let's see how this looks. Oh, it's quite tight, a little bit tight, but that's... There we are. So we can see our autumn stamp, we can see a little bit of the bird there. So yeah, I think that looks quite fun, quite interesting. So I've got that one done. This pocket's getting a little torn, but I'm not sure if that's necessarily a problem. I will just glue it back together before it gets any worse. Put that inside just so it doesn't glue itself to the card. It's a little bit ragged on this edge. Okay, so for the final prompt, so that was prompt postage stamp, in case you hadn't guessed. Well, I did mention it, and that's what we've been using, loads of postage stamps. I hardly ever use postage stamps. I never think to use them. It's silly really, because they're very effective and they look good. So instead of going on to the next card, which I think would be this one, let's do something different. Let's make a pocket to go in the main journal. There is going to be a signature in that journal. May have forgotten that. It's easy to forget. So that we are still only working on the cover. So I thought it would be quite fun to make something to go in that journal. So I just need to clear away some of this stuff before I embark on another project. So I'll be right back. So for my pocket make, I've had a look in my idea box. I haven't looked in there for a little while because we were making a series of working from the idea box, and so I thought it was worth dipping into that for an idea for a pocket. It's going to be a simple pocket, I hope. And this is one by Tina from Shabby Dabby Doodah. It's one of her mass makes, number 163 is where I saw this. And it's a double pocket, and this one's just made as my prototype from some book page. So I'm just going to follow the folds. I haven't glued it down because otherwise I wouldn't know how to fold it, because it's got quite a lot of folds in it, as you can see. It looks more complicated than it actually ends up looking when it's finished. So I'm hoping I can follow it. I think my one will end up being bigger. So you start with a piece of paper that orientation, so portrait. So I have got some paper from, this is some of the Artie Mae's paper. It's her Autumn Splendor kit. It's not necessarily oriented that way, but I don't think it's too directional that it won't work. And I've backed it with some of this leafy paper from the Autumn Wonder kit by Junk Journal Studios. So I'm mixing the kit still. And if it all goes horribly wrong, I've got another piece of a slightly different one as a backup. So, as you can see, it's going to end up quite a bit bigger, but that's okay. I don't think it needs to be. I'm hoping it won't be too big, but I think it'll be all right. So, I'm just going to work out which is the front, so I know which way to fold it. Which way was it? That way, that way, that way. Yep. Okay. So, I take this piece and I'm going to fold it up that way. So let's just decide which piece we want at the top. I think I want that bit at the top. So I'm going to fold that like that. Fold it in half. So bringing up whatever you want for the front. Fold it up like that. And then we're going to take this right hand corner and fold that at a right angle almost into that middle fold. So open it out and fold that in almost into the middle, like that. That's looking almost, doesn't it? Okay, and then the same with the other corner, this corner. I'm folding that back that way. So it's folded at a right angle, like so. Okay, so far so good. So fold that up, fold that back. So fold that up, got that one back, and then we just need to fold the sides in to the middle, or slightly more than the middle, I think. Does that go? So I think we follow the line of where that goes there. So I just need to fold it at the edge of that paper there. That way. And fold it in on the other side. I think I need my bone folder. So we have a pocket. Actually, I quite like the look of that, except for some reason I've got some white on this edge. Must have been that it didn't just miss that bit of printing, so I'm just going to cut that off. We don't need that, it's only a tiny bit. I'm just wondering, I think what I want to do is to reduce some of this bulk. So I'm going to take off some of this flap here. So I don't think we need it, and it is creating quite a lot of bulk. So just going to cut that across there. And that can be glued down. Is there anywhere else that needs cutting? Could actually take off this piece as well. And if this is a mistake, I'll go back to my backup piece. But I think it's okay. We've got that, So we have this pocket. So let us glue down some of these pieces. Oh, I forgot to mention the prompt for this for this piece is flower. We'll get to the flower in a minute. So I'm going to glue these bits down. Okay, here we are. Got this piece, we've got this piece. So I think, do we need, have I inked there? I think I did. I think it looks like it needs a little more. Okay. So you can either have that piece on the inside or that one on the inside, which I think is what I'll do. And this can actually tuck into the back here, like that. You could almost have this inner pocket with another little hidden pocket at the back. You wouldn't have to glue it in. That might be quite nice to do. So let's just let's use this glitter glue. Let's put the so where are we going to glue? I'm just want that glued shut there, want that glued there. Okay. I'm going to go glue along the bottom. So I didn't glue this prototype so I could see how it was made, so I can't remember how Tina glued it together. I'm assuming it's like this. And then I might have to glue this edge after I've glued these bits down. To make sure it's nice and straight. And then we'll glue this one down. Oh no, we don't want to glue that down, do we? No, that's right, because I'm going to tuck it in. So let's just wipe that glue off. I didn't want to do that. I want to tuck it, kind of tuck it into that little bit there. And then I'm going to put some glue along this edge. You can't see. And along this edge, I think. Okay. Tuck him in. Lay it flat. Okay, so then we do have a little hidden pocket at the back here. I don't know if that was the original intention. It just seemed to me that that was a good thing to do. So we have our pocket, and it can be used in, I guess, in different ways, depending on whether you want to put it into another pocket, have it a bit as a, or have it clipped to a page. So you've got your little hidden pocket here. Yes, I was going to ink around that. Ink around the top. And then all we've got to do is add our flower embellishment. And that needs to make a bit of a statement, as that's the name of the prompt. So we'll see, I've got a few pulled out. They're all from the Another Autumn kit, the Tracy Fox kit, that is my main kit for this journal, but with a few others thrown in to make things with and decorate. Whoops. So I have got a little selection of the fussy cuts, the floral fussy cuts from that kit, and I think, and I've also got, pulled out this piece, which is a Roxy Creations, but I'm not sure that's going to quite work. And I've got double because, as I mentioned at the beginning, I have printed them all. I printed them all once when I got the kit and have cut them out, and I printed them all again and cut them out of my Cricut. So I've got a big one and a small one of each one. It gives me a few more options. So this is kind of, I think I might want a big one, but that's obviously a bit too big unless I can trim it off. So I've got that one. I've got this one that's not got enough colour. I do have this one, which is rather nice. I might just take that piece off. And this could actually be used as another little tuck, couldn't it? I think it could. So that's definitely an option. And then I've got this one, which is another lovely one. Not sure it shows up as well as this one does. Kind of like that. If I bring it down to the bottom to give it a flat edge, I could just trim it there. Just cut, I'm going to cut that little piece off. It's not working there. Have it there, and then we could have something tucked in. So rather than trying to chop it off once it's glued down and risking cutting into my pocket, I think I'll just put it on the trimmer and get it a straight edge at the bottom. Let's do that, so that just gives it that edge that I can put at the bottom of the pocket. So lots of little tuck spots. I'll just ink around it. So if I put that there, and it has this lovely big sunflower, so that's the flower prompt with a few other little flowers around and a few little pumpkins, so nice and autumnal. And I think that would be a nice little tuck spot. I'm just got to figure out where I put the glue. All around the edge and then around the three sides. So we'll go down this. Easier said than done. Down this edge. That'll be fine, I think. And I haven't completely fussy cut it to the edge of every bit. I don't think it needs it. It does have a little border in the around it anyway for fussy cutting, so I've kind of followed that. Do I need that? Looks a bit vulnerable there, doesn't it? I don't want to glue it because it'll prevent anything going, it'll limit what I can put in there. So that'll lie flat in the journal, I expect. And there's just a little bit I need to trim off at the sides. I think I have to use these. Get in there. And I think another little finishing touch, I'd like to have a little bit of trim along the edge of that pocket. So I have been doing a bit of purchasing of pretty trims for this journal. So I've got some lovely little bits of different coloured trims. I think this might be the best colour. And I've also got some more leaf trim. Love a bit of leaf trim. It's hard to choose, but I think I don't want it too wide because I don't want it to limit too much what I can put in there. But I thought that would make a nice finishing touch. Yes, I do like that on there. So just going to get my fabric scissors and just take that edge off. And I'm just going to put a bit of, use the fabric glue because it's a little thicker. Okay, lovely. Don't think it needs anything else. Could put something here. I think once you put something in the pocket, you don't really need any more. It's quite pretty enough. I like this on here, on this side. Oh, there's one more thing I was going to put on here, because there are words in. I don't think I've got words in the Tracy's kit, but I could be wrong. But I just remembered I've got sunflowers on the Autumn Wonder. I wonder if I've got it any bigger. Probably used them already. I'm just using up bits that I haven't used previously. So we've got sunflowers. I'm going to cut that out. I think I'll pull out a little bit of book page to put behind it. our box of tiny pieces. That work. I don't think the colour's quite dark enough actually. I need a darker piece of book page. I've got this piece here, I think that would show up better. So let's just tear out a little piece of that. I think that it's a bit too big. A bit too big still. You really don't need very much. Okay, let's just glue that on there. Don't even need to ink this. Oh, glue is nearly finished. There a bit. Get a bit, last little bit out of it. There we are. Just a little bit of extra something. So that's our autumn pocket for our final prompt, flower. So that's it, prompt number 6. Yay, we got them all done. So, for lace, prompt number 4, so we did this, the bifold journal card pulls out. For a postage stamp, we did this card for my autumn cover, and for prompt number, that was prompt number 5, and prompt number 6, flower. And we've made this pocket. A shabby-dabby-doo-dah design. And when that goes in the journal, we'll be able to put a tag in here, and something tucked in behind here. So that'll be fun. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed that. I've had lots of fun. I'm really enjoying this challenge, and I'm ending up with things that I can use in my journals. Win-win. Okay, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.